Good evening. How are we all this evening? Hope we've enjoyed the lovely sunshine and, dare I say it, spring appears to have arrived. I did, fingers crossed, move all my seedlings into the greenhouse this morning, so that's the coffee table in the bay window freed up, and the windowsill in the kitchen. So everything's outside. So fingers crossed we're done with frost for now. And it has been glorious here. Still absolutely freezing cold in the factory because the sun's not high enough to get in and warm up. But, you know, I have got a heater down here if I need it, but I'm all right at the moment. Have got hoodie and 2 thermal layers on still. But I hope you've enjoyed the sunshine. We'll just wait for a few more people to... Hello, Mira. Are you off to Stitchfest? Just saying that you might be. So yeah, this evening we are going to do a couple of little things. One is I'm going to introduce you to a new kit we're launching. And it's like, basically, it's a little bit of a trial run for a new product we've been playing with. So this is a Jacob's Ladder book. You might remember these from being kids. Okay, and it's a really fun one to do. Okay, so we're going to be making one of those, but before we can make the book, we're going to make some pages to go in it, and we're going to play with this set of stamps which I've put on the website in the Facebook Live section. And this is the distressed alphabet. I absolutely adore this set of stamps for multiple reasons. One is obviously alphabet stamps are really handy anyway for doing words, obviously, in journaling and stuff like that. This also has a set of numbers in it, but there is, what I love about this one is that I can make a whole background with it just by arranging them on the acrylic block, which is what we're going to play with to begin with. So, but I just want to quickly introduce you to the kit that we're launching, which is the Jacob's Ladder kit. I think I will flick to this one to show you. So what you get in the kit is 10 pieces, 10 squares of grey board. Now you might notice something a bit odd about the back of the grey board. This is self-adhesive grey board. Okay, so it has a covering of adhesive on there with a red line back on it. So it's a nice strong adhesive. So perfect for this kit. But also we are going to be looking at doing other things, other kits where you need your grey boards to have a good strong construction grade adhesive on it. So this is our little trial. This is our introduce it to you. Okay, so you'll get 10 pieces of that, and then there's a choice of ribbons. I've just noticed I've got something stuck on me. I'm going to be using the rainbow one tonight, but there's ultraviolet, there's Capri blue, which is the colour that I used in this one. There is iris, which is like a pale lilac-y colour, and then the rainbow. That's the 4: Capri blue, ultraviolet, rainbow, iris. Okay, so that's what you get in the kit. So we're going to be playing with that in a minute, but now we'll flick to the overhead. So what we're going to do, so that we've got something to make up into this journal, we're going to make 10 little panels to go on it. Some I've already got pre-made. Others I'm going to make using our stamps that we've just shown you. Okay, so I'm going to move that to one side for a minute. I have pre-cut for myself some black backings, and I've got all my card cut to the same size so that we can move quite quickly. So this is just to show you the one I've already done, so you'll recognise some of these papers. So you can flick through it like this as well, but it obviously has that magic of the flicking over. Okay, and it's a nice size. It's 12 centimetres square, so it's a decent size for a journal. Right, so let's have a play. So what I've done is I've taken off, not the numbers, just the alphabet, okay, and arranged it randomly on my acrylic block. And that's what I'm going to work with. I'm not going to do words for this one. I'm just going to play with this background I've created. And the way I did it was I just start sticking letters in and then fill it around and jiggle them about and stuff. So it's not in alphabetical order. Don't think I've made any words. It's just randomly on there. Okay, so I should have some bits of white, and because I'm going to be using the rainbow ribbon, I'm going to go nice and colourful with all of this. So we're going to start very simply, and I've got here, anybody remember these old ink pads? These are the Collider colour ones, and they have different coloured inks in lines across, okay. And the button I pressed at the start, push them together, and then you do that and it separates them. These are extremely old, but it's still going strong, and I just think the colours on this. So I'm just going to keep this very simple, and I'm just going to stamp it as a background, just to show you how lovely this looks. Okay. So just a really fun background. And again, because you've got those bands of colour. Okay, so very simple on that one. This time, we could sort of just do some second generation stamping on that as well, which I might do just on there because I'm going to need this clean in a second. Okay, so just getting the colour off that. Right, now I'm going to ink this up. So I'm going to stick with the same colours. So I'm going to come in, and now I know that this is the brighter end, this end. So I'm just going to get some colour down. Okay. Good evening, everybody. Right, so good evening, Margaret, Elsbeth, Rua Jane, Gillian, Kelly, Maxine. Who did I miss up there? Claire. I think that's everybody. Good evening. Kelly, did you have any posts today? Just wondering. It's all right. The postman collected lots of the special offers that we did last week. He was sort of chuntering a little bit because they were quite large boxes. Right, so fair bit of colour on that, and then just I'm going to spritz this with some water. Okay. Try not to get it on the paper, and then we're going to come down like that, hold it for 10 seconds. You've seen me do this before, but I just think with this alphabet background, and then roll that across and give it a little bit of a dry, because that always makes it pop a little bit more. You can see it appearing. Okay. Now I did this earlier by accident. I don't know if it was just a random why it worked, but I was testing on just a little bit to make sure this card gave up the colour nicely, and I'd stamped with water, and then I inked. It's probably a bit wetter than when I did it, but it gave a really cool effect, which I was not expecting. And I think it's because it grabs, where it's wet, it grabs the colour more. So it's almost sort of not like, it's like the opposite of a resist. I really like that sort of grungy look. And I'm going to bring in a bit of that green just to darken that up a little bit around the edge. Okay, so we've got 1, 2. Have you not opened it yet? Oh, that'll be your treat after your dinner. As long as you eat all your dinner. That'll be instead of pudding. Right, so we've got 3 squares done there. Let's play with some embossing powder now. I am going to dry my stamp off. So this is just a really fun way of using alphabet stamps. You know, obviously they're great for doing words, but I do love this sort of backgroundy look. Right, I'm going to go with this one, and I'm going to come in. Just if you have used water with them, just check, because it can sort of get underneath and make your stamps move, you'll see they're sliding around a little bit. It's because I've sprayed it with water. So just make sure if you've arranged it perfectly so that nothing's crooked or anything, just make sure you rearrange it. Right, so I think I got enough on there. You notice that the actual pad had fallen off the base there, so it was a little bit harder too. So this time I'm going over one of my backgrounds that we did weeks ago now with the masks, and it's just got a little bit of mica and stuff in it. And I'm going to come in with, let's go with the clear powder. I have got some stock of these big pots of clear powder, which I will count up and get on the website because they don't hang around for long. So I'll get them on this week if you're wanting the big pots of clear powder. Okay, and then I'm going to heat set that. Now obviously there was a little bit of contamination from the stamp because I hadn't cleaned it, but I don't think that's going to matter with what I'm doing. So I'm just going to make sure, and again, because my pad is a little bit old, I'm getting a really nice distressed finish. I don't know if you can see, it's not fully covered, and I kind of like that, because what I'm going to do is on some of this, I think I've got all that. So just move that out the way because I want to keep that clean. And I want to come in with, I don't want to do all of it, I'm just going to use it like a little bit of a resist. I think we'll come in with a bit of faded jeans, but I don't want to go all over because I don't want to lose all of that lovely. So I'm just going to add some little hints around there. So what's happening here, as well as the fact that I still want to keep the little bit of mica, so some's protected by the embossing powder, but because there was some contamination, it's not as clear as it would be if I'd have done this as the first demo. It is acting as a bit of a resist there, so you're protecting it, but also by inking, it's pulling out that leftover pattern from the mask where we used it previously. So we're getting a really sort of nice layered effect there. Okay, so how many have we got? We need 10, by the way. Okay, so let's go in and do a slightly different one. I think you're going to be good, and I think we're going to come in with some really funky embossing powders on it, because I'm going to try and keep the spring-like feel and have it nice and some nice bright colours. So because that's a bit rubbish, I am going to ink it up with a distress ink and use that to hold my embossing powders. And I can do on this now because I'm using a coloured embossing powder. If I was wanting to use clear, I would struggle. I would have to go and find a newer pad than that, but I can get away with it because I'm using coloured embossing powders. Okay, so I'm going to just move that a second because I don't want to get ink on it. So we're going to come down, we're going to press that down nice and firmly. Okay, you can actually see it squidging, so there is still moisture under there. So probably not the best order to do the techniques in. Okay, now I don't want to contaminate my embossing powder too much, so I'm going to do a sprinkle of the blue here, because also I don't want it to go where I don't want it. So by doing that side, and I'm going to do a little bit over this side. So by doing it by pinches, I'm controlling where it's going. Okay, brush it off my fingers. Again, because I'm using distress ink, it does stay wet long enough for me to do this. Now, what I've got to be careful here is I can't tip this orange back in the pot. Okay, because even though I've cleaned my back paper, there is still going to be, when I tip it up, there is still the danger that a tiny pinch or tiny grain of the blue will come off and could potentially contaminate my orange embossing powder. So by doing just a small pinch, I'm not using too much from the pot, and also it means that I can just sort of shake it around like that and get it to fill in any gaps. And then I would have a spare pot if need be, because there is a little bit there. So I usually have a mixed pot on the go, but I am going to see if I can fill any gaps in with that orange. There we go. So that does not get tipped back in the pot, because if I pile it up, you can see there are some little grains of blue. And as you know, with embossing powder, as it melts, that will spread, and you don't want that spreading into your orange. So save that, put that somewhere safe over there. It'll get tidied up later. Okay, here we go. So we're going to heat set this. These are nice bright colours. Okay, that orange is super bright. And I made sure to mix on some of the letters. So make sure that you heat it long enough so that it spreads out. And again, because I've used the distress ink and I've faffed around a little bit, there are little tiny gaps in here, which works really nicely because I've got a colour behind. But also, it is a distressed alphabet. It's not a perfectly solid, come here, it's not a perfectly solid one. So it will always have little gaps within it. Okay, there we go. I think that's kind of funky. And I'm not making these panels overly busy, and you'll see why in a minute when I start making the book. I was going to use that. Right, let's try and get that a bit cleaner, because I did want to do a resist one, but if I can't get these clean, and also my ink pad's not great, it might be okay. Again, because I've spritzed it with water, just dry your acrylic block and stick your letters back on. Now, if you wanted them in exactly the same place, just look on your one you've already stamped and use that as a point of reference. Right. So I'm going to attempt... oh, this ink pad's really bad. So I'm going to break the golden rule. I'm actually going to take my stamp to the pad rather than the pad to the stamp, just because I want to try and get some ink on there. Okay, and we're going to stamp down. Now, theoretically, this should be perfectly clear, but obviously we know my stamps are, well, it's not bad. I mean, that I could argue that I've done it like that so it'll show up for you. And I want to come in with, where's my, there it is. So I'm sticking with the same. I just like the really bright colours in this. So again, it just gives a really sort of interesting, distressed look. It's the same as we did on this one, but on a different card. So because the card has a slight sort of texture to it, it does take the colour a little bit. It doesn't work as a full resist, whereas this was a coated cardstock that had that smooth finish. So just experiment with your card, because they will all react in different ways depending on what you're doing. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Just going to overstamp that one, and then we'll do something for the front there. So I just thought this would be really cool, and I'm going to just ink up, oh, green against the blue, that'd be really nice. Okay, get back down there. See, because they've got wet. So obviously at home you could, take time between each of these stages. You don't have to rush like I am, because the last thing you want is your O to drop off. Oh. So I'm just going to stamp that down there. Just again gives a really funky sort of different look, and that's just going to get snipped. Okay, I want to do something with this one. What else have we got we can play with? Oh, I've got that nice embossing powder. So I'm going to use VersaFine this time to hold my embossing powder on. Okay, so I'm just stamping over an existing background. So again, this is a nice way of using up those bits we've made on previous weeks. And this is a black embossing powder. Well, sort of a pewter, actually. This might be the front cover, although this doesn't really have one front cover. Now, I'm able to do this on these pre-existing backgrounds because they were done weeks ago. If these were fairly fresh and I'd done them in the the last couple of days, I would want to dust them with corn flour, talcum powder, anti-static bag, something like that, so that your embossing powder isn't going to cling everywhere that you don't want. Okay. Really cool, really striking against that background. There we go, just make sure. Remember, when you're heat embossing, move your heat gun round slowly, watching it melt. Don't waft. Wafting is for drying. Moving slowly is for heat setting. Okay. And I was just looking. Ooh, is that embossing powder? Ooh, look at that one. That's pretty. Just saw that on the floor. Let's do it on that one. And what VersaFine Claire have I got? Have I got a purple up here? I have. So bear with me a minute while I just clean that off. Get as much off as I can, because I don't want to contaminate my purple. Okay. So just make sure I've got everywhere. And the reason I've chosen purple to go underneath is I think this powder I'm about to use has a, whereas that black one I've just done has an opaque base, and the blue and the orange we had an opaque base. This one has a clear base, but it also has some mica in it. So by using the purple, I'm also using a pearly sheet of paper to gather up my embossing powder so that there's less risk of stray bits sticking to it when I tip them back into the container that the powders come from. So I'm not going to get a stray bit of black in this lovely lilac-y pinky colour, which, if I remember correctly, has got a green base to it as well. It has, because I can see it against the... So by putting a dark ink underneath, it's going to help pull any of those colours forward. Okay, you're all very quiet this evening. Is everybody okay? Or is it just that my computer's not updating? Can somebody say hello so I know if it's my computer or if you're all just very quiet? So I'm just going to heat, and you can see this has this lovely like goldy green colour to it. And I just think with this rainbow theme, it's going to really tie together nicely. Okay. So I think I'm nearly at all my panels done. Okay. Oh, that's fine. Hello, everybody. I just panic because sometimes my computer doesn't update the comments and I might be missing out what you're saying. Right, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, and then I'm going to use some stickers I had from previously to do the 10th one. So let's just stamp on that as well. And what colour haven't we used? Oh, lime green, that ought to be nice. So I'm just going to, hang on, I'm going to stamp that off a bit as well. That O's determined to fall off, but it's fine. Okay. Because I'm just going to arrange that one in a second. So this is a sheet of stamps I did earlier. No, right, ignore that whole sentence. This is a sheet of stickers. Hello, Hazel. You're behaving, Margaret. I'm disappointed. Disappointed. Yeah, so I didn't do these stickers earlier. They were the other week. And they're stickers, not stamps. And I'm just doing that at a jaunty angle. Hazel, I may have found a couple of boxes of your favourite little things. The little spiral band. They are on the shelf. Safe. Just so you know. Okay, that's perfect. Right, so we've got all our components. Let's start. I'm going to tuck that away. Put that away. So, first one first. It's going to be nice and easy because I'm going to mat all of these up onto black. So I'm just going to take my stickers and just do the random, not trying to recreate what was on there. Just going to do like a mosaic. I'm hoping that will go there. I don't want to cut any of these up. I'm going to try and keep them whole. Yeah, that's going to work. And then that one. Okay, so that's our first panel. Sorry, that was bad. That was off the shot. Right, so that first one's done. And then what I'm going to do, so that we're in a position to start making up our book. So here are our panels already with the adhesive on the back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start sticking each of these as I'm going along. Now I have specifically chosen sort of designs that doesn't really matter which way up they go. Okay, I can add more embellishments and stuff later once the main journal is made. Right, then I'm going to turn it over and get it pressed down there. Okay, so next we're going with our blue and green one. Right, what is up with my brain? Blue and orange. Okay. So, because I just want everything secure in these panels. Okay, so turn it over, get it pressed down. Just put my iron on it. So here's this one. So, right, the stamps on the sticker sheets, they are some of the art inspiration ones. There's just a few different ones mixed on. They're just like patterny ones. So you can do it with any like pattern stamps. But those specific ones were art inspirations from the Nicholas Tower sets. But I don't know which ones because they didn't have names on. Okay, turn that over. So this is going to be a little bit repetitive. I'll try and move as quickly as I can. By using a glue stick, I'm also doing that quicker, although I am starting to worry that this glue stick isn't going to make it to the end. These glue sticks are running out, but it'll do. See, even that one, that very simple, that's the ghosting water one. But matte it up onto black, it looks really cool. So turn it over, give it a good old press down. So might have to go to a different glue in a minute. Rather not have to, but right, so get that down on there. Just need to trim a little bit more off him. That's it. And I'm going to offset this for a reason. So it's going to go like that. Oh, I remember Pantones didn't like this. Let's see what other glue I've got. I'm also getting quite warm. I nearly thought I might have to take my hoodie off. Have I got another glue under here? I must have. I always have glue. Always have glue. Bear with me a minute. Because I snaffled all my glue to bookbinding workshop. Talking of bookbinding workshops, there is still time to sign up for Sunday's online bookbinding workshop if you want to. So that's on the website. And there is also another online workshop all about rubber stamping. We also have lots of in-person workshops coming up as well. Mixed Media Mayhem, they're my favourites because literally can't actually, you know, I can't, nothing is safe in a Mixed Media Mayhem one. So many more have I got to do? Come on, glue stick, you can survive this. If at the end of the day, if the panels aren't stuck on, you'll still get the idea. But I'd like to get all the panels stuck on. Can't believe I snaffled all my glue. I probably have got a glue, I just can't see it. And as soon as I turn off the live function, it'll go, oh look, I was just sitting here all along. Okay. So obviously these are getting stuck on the side that hasn't got the adhesive on. Come on, you can make it. You've got 3 more to do. Might be asking a lot of this glue stick. Okay, under that. Right, 2 more panels of black. I'm using less and less glue each time. These are not going to stay on, but you'll get the idea. Okay. There we go. I just always say to people, if you're not happy with something, check it matted up. Because it honestly, it makes such a difference. That looks a complete topper now. Other than the fact it's hanging on for dear life with very little glue. Right. It's the only thing with glue sticks is you do seem to sort of waste a lot in the actual sort of bit that pops out. So I just sort of tend to gouge it out with a knife and try and use it. Can you see that lovely goldy colour? And again, that's emphasised by the fact I've used the purple VersaFine underneath. This is really bad practice with glue. And this is even worse. Just going to spread it around with my finger. You know, the biggest problem is I had a bit of a tidy up. That's the problem. And I hadn't planned to use any other glue than a glue stick, not realising how much glue stick I was going to go through. Right. Yeah, clean my fingers off a bit. Okay. If these hang on, it'll be by the grace of... Right, so we have 10 panels now done up and decorated. So for Jacob's Ladder, you also need some ribbon. So I'm using the rainbow one. So there are lots of different colours. This is the rainbow one. And you get enough on here to do this book. Just enough. Okay, and the first thing you want to do is unravel it Okay, and then you're going to divide it up into 3. It is a 3-meter ribbon, so if you want to measure it, you can do. But what I'm going to do is what I did earlier, which is just sort of do it and make it so that the ends line up and snip into 3 sections. Okay, I mean, this is just a delightful ribbon, isn't it? Okay, so I've got my 3 bits. Right. So take one of your panels, turn it upside down and peel the backing off. Now, one of the things I've been testing is which of the backings is easier to peel off grey board. So the one I did had a paper backing and it was really hard to peel off. So on this one I've gone with the red liner type backing and it seems to come off a little bit easier. Right, so take one of your lengths of ribbon and position it roughly in the middle and sticking out to the right. Take another one, and notice I've not gone right across this panel, it's just to give me make the ribbon go. It doesn't need to go right across on this one. And then about a finger space in from the top and have one going off to the left. And then take your next piece of ribbon, finger space from the bottom, and again have it going off from the left. Okay, take your next panel, peel the backing off it. And this is why this double-sided self-adhesive grey board is perfect for this, because trying to apply glue and getting a good seal on this is really tricky. And then you're just going to line up the 2 squares, press it firmly down. Okay, so you've got your ribbons sandwiched in. Then you take the right over to the left and the left over to the right. Okay, doesn't matter if they're not perfectly tight yet. And take your next panel, peel off the backing. So I am using my awl just to get it started. Just slide it under. There you go. Okay, and put it gluey side up. Okay, and then you're going to take that one that's on the left, pull it tight and across, laying it down in the glue. Okay, take the one that's on the right, pull it tight across, and the same with the other one. So you're swapping sides with them. Okay, but pulling tight. So next one, peel the backing off and sandwich it in. Okay, take your ribbons, flick them back across. Okay, this is why working with the rainbow ribbon just makes it nice and visible. Okay, take your next panel and peel your backing off. Honestly, the peeling the backing off is the trickiest bit, but I did decide that the red backing for the adhesive is a little bit easier to peel off, she says, once you get it started and you're not doing it live on air. Okay, lay it down. Okay, pull your ribbons tight and back across. And really pull them nice so that they're going to lay nice and flat, and that will stop any twists and turns as well. Okay, and just make sure that they're lining up Okay, pull it nice and tight. Nice and tight across. Okay, next. This is a really hard one to write instructions for, which is why I thought if I do it live and then you can watch it back. And again, because of the whole Facebook only keeping things for 30 days, this will go up onto YouTube. Across, across, across. So you can see it's a nice repetitive pattern. Okay, don't stab yourself with your awl while you're peeling your backing off. Lay it down. And I do find that laying it down and then pulling it tight across, just so much easier than trying to get it tight before you lay your next one down. Okay. So nearly there. So peeling off. Here we go. Sandwich that on, give it a bit of a press. Right, so last one, back across. Okay. And again, backing off. And keep these panels, because they are quite handy. Like if it was like little mini messy mats and stuff like that, they do have a use, these sort of bits that you peel off, and they might even work as die release papers. Must test that. There we go. So lay it down. Right, so this is the last one, so this ribbon will only go halfway across this time. Okay. Just pull it nice and tight. Okay, and then the last one, sandwich, and then we check if it works. So I have done these in the past with wet glue, and they are particularly tricky because you've got to try and sandwich that and make sure you've got enough adhesive in there. The only thing I would say is once you've made it, you might have a little bit of sort of the sticky just at the edge there. So I would dust this with just a little bit of talcum powder or a little bit of corn flour or something like that, just to take off any sticky. And then you hold it up and you flick it. You see, that's because it's got the little bit of sticky. So hold it up, flick it down. Come on. It gets looser the more you do it. There you go. And I think the rainbow ribbon, it's just there. So if I ran, there you go. So if I ran some corn flour down there, you see as it flicks over. So just run some corn flour down there and it will start to, come on, flick. And as soon as that adhesive is dry, it just goes a treat. And then it folds up flat. And you can just flick through it like that. Or as I say, the most impressive is when you flick it down and it flicks like that. And also we've got the glue from the, there we go. Once it starts going, it goes really nicely. The more you play with it, the more it will flick. And then if you want to, obviously you've got these panels here that you can then go in and add your extra decorations to, which is what I did on this one. So I added the words, but they're better to add afterwards so that you can make sure they're not going to catch on the mechanism. So you can see once you've dusted the edge, and they just flow a lot easier. So, and it's just slightly magical. But when you're decorating it up, just remember that one side things will be upside down. If I hold it in the middle there, you can get the, okay, so that's your Jacob's ladder. Okay, and there's the one we've made tonight. And again, I just think that rainbow ribbon is really fabulous. So I would go in using my alphabet stamps, add in some words in there, and then just, you can see there is where the adhesive is just, even if you just rub it with your finger just to take off the tackiness, and then you can start playing with it. Okay. Come on. Should have bought me. Again, I put my cornflour away. That's the problem. Don't tidy up is the moral. Just don't tidy up. You can use these with photos, with anything. Okay, so one Jacob's ladder made up. Okay, that was a little bit quicker than I thought. So has anybody got any questions, or shall we just make up some, should I just do some quick stamping with those nice alphabet stamps? I was going to look and see if I've got some mica powder, because actually I've got embossing powder. Oh yeah, I've got some mica powder. See, you could also, where those edges are sticky, you could run some mica powder down it, and that would work, and it would give you a sparkle. But let's just do a couple of little more panels just while we've got the time, because we've got, right, I tidied up, didn't I? Why do I do that? Why do I tidy up? It doesn't ever go well. So I'm just going to stamp with Distress ink here. And then I might do some words, just to show you can actually make words with this. Okay, so I'm just stamping with a Distress ink. So you can't really see it, but here we come with our mica powder. Dip it in, dust it across, and then of course the letters appear. And then you can do the reverse of that, which is where you take your panel and you smear all over with clear embossing ink. Okay, yuck. Or glycerin. If you haven't got clear embossing, you can just use glycerin, remember. Similar, acts in similar ways. Apply your mica and really work it in. Okay, so just make sure it's all covered, all really worked in. So you've got that solid panel of colour. Then ink up your stamp again, so it's nice and moist with ink. Press it down firmly, because this is also, I don't know if you noticed, but it's a slightly textured card as well. And pull it off and you get that negative. Now what we have got here is the mica is still on the stamp. So as we've got time, let's quickly do like a faux seal. Let me see what I've got. Got that. That'll work nicely. Got that. Right. Okay. I'm going to make this a bit smaller, because although we have got time, we haven't got a huge amount of time. So again, just going to get some sticky ink on there. So again, you could use glycerin on a sponge. It's not as intimidating. Just follow the instructions slow. The trouble is with this particular, the Jacob's ladder, is your brain is like, how's it working? But if you just follow the pattern rather than, that was a bit too dry. If you follow the pattern rather than thinking about what you're doing, it actually makes it easier. Right, that was too dry. So Also, I think I want black. No, I'll make do with this. Right. Let's just use any old ink pad. I just need to get the first layer down. And then it'll be fine. Yeah, we're starting to get a layer there. Okay. So we're going with this nice yellowy colour. Let's get that heat set. So this is ultra thick, by the way. Okay, so yeah, being ultra thick, it means we are going to build up some layers. And I've got two different colours here. So I've got the citrine, which is the one I'm using now. And then I'm going to go in with some, there it goes, purple sapphire. So it's going to take a little bit. And because the ink's not really, because the card sort of sucked up the ink a little bit, but now I've got a layer of embossing powder on there. Actually, that sort of is a little bit waterproof, so that'll help build up the embossing powder. See, a lot more stuck that time. So, you know, sometimes you just need to not panic. Remain calm. Okay. So you see, straight away, I've got more there. And as soon as you've got more there, you've got more that it can hold on with. Kind of like having the red underneath that yellow. I think that's kind of nice. Pure accident. Okay, so I'm going to keep it warm. I'm going to do one more layer with the yellow. Okay. Now, if you have to re-ink between layers, it doesn't matter. You don't have to work, especially on a piece this size, which is like noticeably bigger. So a little bit harder to keep it warm while you're doing it. But if you do need to re-ink, just remember that although it might not be hot enough to hold the embossing powder, it could still be hot enough to stick to your ink pad. So if you're going to use the re-inking method, just make sure you leave it long enough to cool down so it doesn't stick to the top of your ink pad. You just don't want to spoil your ink pad. So I'm sprinkling this in so that I've got a little bit, you know, I'm not doing a full coverage. I love mixing the colours. Okay. Bit more. Let's sprinkle over there. Okay. Going to get this nice and warm. It does look hammered. I love playing with embossing powders like this. So remember our stamp that has got the ink and the mica on it. If I now pick that up and press that in, remembering when you're pressing into ultra thick embossing powder that you are pressing into a liquid. So if you press too firmly, it can splish off and just actually push off. But look at that. Oop, stuck it to the paper. So it's pressed in. It's also grabbed off the mica. So can you see the mica from the stamp is embedded into that, and you've got this really lovely effect. And that's just mopping up from the mica that we had earlier. So we could add that panel into our book as well if we wanted to. We could flick through, find one where maybe it's a little bit, you know, and then if you want to add after your book is made, just remember to slide it under the ribbons. And this is why you can decorate afterwards. Just remember to slide under the ribbons so that the ribbons can move freely to do the mechanism. Does that make sense? Okay, so I think that's about it for this evening. So let's go to speak to you. Hi. So quick reminder, bookbinding workshop this Sunday online. If anybody wants to join, book on the website. There is also next month, there is a rubber stamping one, which is going to be all stampy techniques and things like that. And the nice thing with that is they're going to all be techniques, and then you can use your own stamps in your own home. And it's just going to be ram-packed full of techniques and your chance to ask questions. So there's that. Check out the Jacob's Ladder kits. And I say, we've got lots of ideas coming for this idea of self-adhesive grey board, because I just think grey board is one of those things that, you know, we use in construction, and you sometimes want to cover it with paper and getting the glue to go to the edge. We've taken that hassle away because we've done it for you, and it's a good strong construction grade. So I'm thinking for book covers and stuff like that, I'm going to be exploring with using different materials on it. You know, can I use cork onto it? Can I, you know, use it to make coaster backs and stuff like that? So watch this space. But thank you for watching. See some of you on Sunday. If not, I will see you same time, same place, next Wednesday, 7 o'clock. Have a good week. Enjoy the sunshine.